More than the expected number of tantrics turned up. Some of them were those legendary personalities of whom we had been hearing in half belief and amazement. Seeing them in person filled one with awesome wonder. Indeed, it was a miracle on Burbua Baba's part to have succeeded in getting them together. Ma Krupalu Bhairavi, Ananda Bhairavi, the master of Pishach Siddhis, Ma Debul Bhairavi and others made us happy by their participation. Among others were Pagla Baba, Swami Dehur Baba, Krupalu Swami, Baba Bhairavnath, Karparanand Bharati, Swami Girijanand Agori, Virda Swami and Trijata Agori. They were unique personalities with worldwide fame, and for tantrics they are specially venerable. They have achieved extraordinary siddhis. I was thrilled to see them all together in one place. But for this convention, I could never have even dreamt of having a glimpse of them. Not only I, most of the tantrics present there were in raptures. In his opening remarks, Burbua Baba explained about the convention and said that he was very happy that his invitation had been accepted by all sadhakas. He said that this convention was the first of its kind in the last 5,000 years, and he was particularly happy about the participation of sadhakas from the Siddhashrama. He appealed to the participating tantrics, mantriks, yogis, sadhakas, hatha yogis and agoris that they should be calm and cooperate with him in making the convention a success. He said, all sadhakas are great and distinguished. Differences of opinion and arguments therefore are natural. But these arguments will create unnecessary problems. Tantric assaults will be made on one another and energy will be wasted. Therefore, please try to control your tempers and be generous in giving your knowledge to others. He spoke briefly about the prevalent situation in the country. He said, the last 300 years can be called the dark age for Tantrism as during this period it has been brutally assaulted and has been presumed to be only a destructive skill. The common people are scared at the very mention of the word Tantra. Their impression is that it can only kill or torture a person. According to their impression, Mohana, Vashikarana, Uchchatana and other such kriyas are Tantra, when Tantra actually means something at a much higher plane and is capable of benefiting the entire mankind. This knowledge has been entrusted to us by our ancestors and has attracted the world's attention to India. For them, India is the only source of this knowledge. But unfortunately, fake tantrics have gradually found their way into the society. They believe in performing spellbinding feats and are thus doing a great disservice to Tantra and are misleading the common people. Under the circumstances, it would be a mistake for a tantric to become an introvert. He can make constructive contributions in building up the country. The very special practices in Tantra are disappearing gradually. Jalagamana, walking on water, Vayugamana, walking in the air, Parakaya Pravesha, entering another body, and some other such practices are known only to a handful of tantrics who are so remote from the common people that it is no more possible to learn these from them. They will end with their lives and the country will be deprived of a great treasure. It is not only politics through which the country and the people can be served. There are several ways of serving them, of which Tantra is above all. Until the common misconceptions about Tantra are removed from people's mind, they will not be able to have any faith in them. He called upon the Tantric, Mantrik and Sadhaka to keep in touch with the common people and diffuse knowledge amongst them in a way that ordinary practitioners of Tantra too could benefit from them. People have great respect for Gurudev Baba because of his distinguished personality, and he has done remarkable work in this field. Everyone listened to Baba's address attentively. One or two agoris protested and seemed restless to speak, but others sitting nearby forced them to sit back quietly. They got even more agitated and kept standing up to speak and express their annoyance. Concluding his speech, Baba said that a chairman for the convention had to be elected, and the person suggested should not be an expert only in one area but in all areas equally. In Tantric and Mantrik society, one is not considered old by his age only. An old person is one who is old in his knowledge. One participant requested Gurudev Baba himself to take the chair, but the two agoris who were still standing opposed vehemently. They said that Gurudev Baba was only a Tantric, not a Mantrik, and therefore would not be able to satisfy the Mantrik's quest for knowledge. Gurudev Baba himself supported this statement and sat aside. Swami Kripacharya proposed Ma Krupalu Bhairavi's name as the chairperson, but it was opposed by Trijata Agori since she was only a Bhairavi and did not qualify in other areas. He even challenged her to equal him in sadhana and said that only then he would accept her as the chairperson. But Ma Bhairavi did not take up the challenge. Some sadhakas requested Pagala Baba, but accepting the fact that he was a Tantric and had not practiced the leftist methods, he said that he did not qualify for the chairmanship. Some other names were discussed, but they were not acceptable to some of the participants, and even after discussing for 1 hour, no decision could be taken regarding the chairperson. Some agoris proposed Hatayogi Swami Pret Baba's name. One of the Tantrics stood up and challenged Pret Baba to face his Kriya. If he succeeded, he would be accepted as the chairman. He also said that he had mastered the Samharini Kritya, that is, the skill to kill. This Kritya is a killer experiment. It is said that when Lord Shankara disrupted and destroyed King Daksha's Yagna, a religious ceremony, he had used this Kritya. Even the most highly qualified Tantric is nervous of this Kritya and does not challenge it, as after this practice, the person who is the object dies instantly. This Kritya kills the one who practices it too. Daksha was a distinguished sage and a Tantric, but even he was not able to counter Kritya. He tried all the siddhis in his power, but they all failed. I had heard that among the surviving Tantrics in the world, there were only a few who knew this siddhi and could use it. When this Tantric mentioned Kritya, I was startled. Indeed, his face was flushed with rage, and he looked all set to use the Kritya any moment. His face looked hard and determined. Had Kritya been used, it would not only have hurt the person who was the target, but people around him too. Gurudev Baba realized the danger in a moment. He begged the sadhakas to be calm and refrain from using the Kritya. The Samharini Kritya is the most violent and destructive one among all Krityas. I had read quite a lot about it, but I had never met anyone who could put it to practice. Seeing him and knowing that there were sadhakas today who could practice Kritya was a pleasant surprise. Kritya can be countered by Kritya. If a sadhaka practices Samharini Kritya, the person who is the target can be saved only if he too knows how to use it and can destroy it by Kechari Kritya. But such masters are rare. Hatayogi Pret Baba apologized and regretted his inability in accepting the chairmanship. He also appealed not to use Kritya during the convention, otherwise there would be considerable destruction and killings. Hatayogi Pret Baba also admitted his ignorance about the practice of Kritya. I learnt later that the person who had challenged Hatayogi Pret Baba was Durjata Agori. I had heard a lot about him. I had heard that he could create a new world. I had read in the Puranas, ancient Hindu scriptures, that dissatisfied with Brahma's creation, Vishwamitra began creating another universe, causing much alarm and agitation among the Devas, gods. Vishwamitra stopped the creation when the Devas and the Rishis protested. I had entertained a hope of seeing this giant-like personality someday, and that day when I did see him, I was indeed awe-struck. There were a few others there who knew how to use Kritya. Mentionable among them are Trijata Agori and Dehur Baba, but they remained calm throughout.